Hi, everyone. Sorry to keep you waiting. I've been struggling with camera issues, but I am live. Well, welcome to Lay's Real Talk. Um, okay, well, what a thumbnail. CIA plus a seductress. Well, let me tell you what they're all about. Well, let's talk about CIA first. 9 months ago, for the first time ever, the Central Intelligence Agency released two Chinese language recruitment videos targeting people inside mainland China. One video aimed at high ranking officials and the other at grassroots cadres. And then in less than a year, those two videos had more than 45 million views. Now, about 4 weeks ago, the CIA released another Mandarin video, and this time offering step-by-step instructions on how to securely contact the agency using VPN. The message was blunt. It says, the CIA wants to know the truth about China, and we're looking for trustworthy people who know the truth and are willing to share it. The information you hold may be more valuable than you realize. In just 1 month, that video alone passed 63 million views. Now remember, the video is in Chinese. So most of the viewers are from mainland China because there aren't that many Chinese outside China that could have generated that many views. And so the combined 100 million views of the three videos suggest that these videos are extremely popular in China, or they've been seen by many Chinese. Then, just today, a few weeks after Zhang Youxia's drama exploded, the CIA dropped yet another Chinese language video, this time directly targeting the Chinese military personnel. The description openly calls on people inside China to contact the CIA. It says they respect and protect those who cooperate, and specifically asks, do you have information about China's top leadership? Are you a military officer, or do you work with the military? Do you work in intelligence, diplomacy, and the economy, science, or advanced technology, or interact with people in those fields? I mean, think about it. It's pretty much everyone. And then the voiceover doesn't name Zhang Youxia, but the message is very obvious. It references the latest development in China. It says this. It says, the leaders were never protecting the people, only their private interests. Their power is built on countless lies. Now, those walls of lies are beginning to collapse. And what's left for us is to clean up the wreckage. Anyone with real leadership is seen as a threat, hunted down and crushed without mercy. I can't let these madmen shape the world my daughter will grow up in. History teaches us that the greatest victory is to win without fighting. But those who have never seen war are eager to throw us onto the battlefield. I'm a soldier. My duty is to protect the people and defend my country. Choosing this path is how I fight for my family and for my nation. The video ends with a striking line. It says, the fate of the world is in your hands. From the CIA. I think these Chinese videos by the CIA are getting better and more direct. When the CIA is openly asking to Chinese soldiers in their own language, and tens of millions are watching, that alone tells you something inside the system is breaking. And that certainly puts tremendous pressure on the man who tries to control the Chinese military. And what's even more revealing is what Xi Jinping himself is doing at the same time. So now let's talk about what Xi Jinping has been up to. According to state media, after inspecting Guangzhou in November, which was November 7th to the 8th of 2025, Xi has not left Beijing from November 9th all the way to February 12th. That's 3 full months. He hasn't even gone abroad once. However, in the previous 2 years, around the Chinese New Year, or right around the Western New Year and the Chinese New Year, can people hear me? I just want to make sure that there's no audio visual issues. Yes? Am I coming across okay? Good? Okay. All right. All right. Someone says yes. Okay. No issues. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So Xi Jinping has not left Beijing for 3 full months. Whereas in the past years, this is his busy time for travel. This is the time that he was constantly traveling and inspecting military units across the country. So why hasn't he left Beijing this time? Well, the answer is simple, in my opinion. He doesn't dare to leave because he isn't in total control. Now, after Zhang Youxia was taken down, Xi's first public appearance came on February the 6th, when he attended a Chinese New Year gala hosted by the CMC, the Central Military Commission, for retired PLA officers in Beijing. Let me play you the video. I muted the voice, but you can still see him. Hold on, you could see him. I'm gonna play this. You see Jiang Zemin is walking right behind him, but the guy looks very cautious and careful. Can you see? Yeah, he is. Yeah, look at the distance. Look at the distance, right? Between Xi Jinping and Jiang Zemin. His face was tense. He trailed behind Xi Jinping and kept his distance. That's them. Everyone looks not relaxed at all. Look at Jiang Zemin's expression. Okay, let me pause for a second. So if you look carefully at the footage I just played, you will also see many young people in uniform present. They're clearly not retired PLA officers. These are believed to be security personnel, Xi Jinping's personal bodyguards. So they're circled in blue in the screenshots. Take a look at them in these pictures. And yeah, the blue color is a little blurry. So these are absolutely not retired PLA generals. There are a lot of young people mixed in the crowd. They're all Xi Jinping's personal bodyguards. Now, there's another detail. The current defense minister, Dong Jun, also attended the gala, but his seat was 3 rows behind Xi. He was not seated. Okay, let me bring this to where is Dong Jun? There he is. So he is 3 rows behind Xi Jinping. He was not seated in the same row as Jiang Zemin did. So the hierarchy was very clear. Now, just days later, on February the 11th, Xi Jinping, still in Beijing, conducted his traditional New Year military inspection by video from the PLA building. Now, this is normally when, let me do this. Let me come back. Maybe I should make this bigger. Here we go. Oh, yeah. This is typically an annual event when the CMC chairman travels to frontline units in person. But this time, Xi Jinping stayed inside in a heavily guarded building and spoke to the Army, Navy, Air Force, Cyber Force, the Aerospace Force through a teleprompter or through a screen. And the CCTV footage was bizarre. If you look at this is from the CCTV footage. It shows this wide shot. it shows this massive hall, and there were only 3 tables. She sat at the main table. On the 2 side tables sat Zhang Shenming, and the other person is Dong Jun. Now, like I said, Dong Jun isn't a CMC member. At the previous gala event I mentioned, he sat 3 rows behind Xi Jinping. Now he's suddenly placed at the same level as Zhang Shenming, not because he got promoted, but because without him, Zhang Shenming would have been the only general sitting with Xi, and that would have looked very, very lonely. So they propped Dong Jun up as visual balance to make this look a little reasonable. The room looked extremely empty. The scene felt eerie. It was like the entire PLA leadership had been reduced to 3 people staring at a screen. And in Xi Jinping's remarks, he said the past year was highly unusual. Yes, indeed. He praised the military for being revolutionarily tempered through anti-corruption and insisted that officers, especially grassroots troops, were absolutely reliable and politically solid. And people noticed that he said that he didn't mention the officers. He just said that the grassroots troops are absolutely reliable and politically solid, sort of implying the non-grassroots ones, the officers, are not. Anyways, but this language means one thing: the purge isn't over yet. Anyone could be next. Now, what I must tell you, in CCP or PLA's own tradition, the chairman visits the frontline units before every Chinese New Year. And that has been the case for Xi Jinping from 2013 to 2022. Now, for example, last year, in 2025, he inspected the Northern Theater Command in Shenyang, and Zhang Youxia was with him. Let me just come back. So last year, he visited Shenyang, the Northern Theater Command, and his vice chairman at the time, or Zhang Youxia, was there with him. And then in the year before, in 2024, he visited troops in Tianjin with He Weidong, who has now fallen. And the only time he used video was in 2023 during the nationwide COVID outbreak or outbreaks. Remember in December 2022 and then into January and February of 2023, the entire China was in a lockdown mode because it was all over. It was crazy. So that was the only time when he used video. Every year since he came to power, he visits, or he has been visiting, the troops right before the Lunar New Year. So why in 2026 did Xi Jinping refuse to go to the troops at all? Well, because he's afraid of his own military. After arresting Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhengli, Xi broke a long-standing tradition. He hid inside headquarters. He inspected readiness virtually. He offered holiday greetings through a screen. A military of millions now looks like it has only a bare commander. So this level of dread is unprecedented since the CCP built its party, its army, and its regime. I'm sure CIA's videos were ringing in the back of Xi Jinping's mind. And so that makes him worrisome. Now, everyone in the PLA, everyone is watching everyone else. The morale has collapsed. Think about how strange this looks, right? Xi had just taken down a CMC vice chairman and effectively blown up the Central Military Commission. By normal logic, this is when a leader would appear confident, in control, and secure in his power. And this is the time he wants to be with his troops to show that he is in control. This is the time he wants to meet with as many military leaders as possible, just to quickly, put his hands on on the void left behind by the two generals. But instead, he didn't dare to show up in front of the troops. And he doesn't have anyone to send as a stand-in to perform the usual political theater. So that giant hall with only 3 people watching the screen says everything. So far, what you are seeing is a leader who no longer dares to face his own army. He hides behind screens. He stays inside heavily guarded buildings. And he hasn't left Beijing for months. But here's the next question, and this is the more dangerous one. If Xi Jinping doesn't trust the PLA as a whole, who is actually guarding him? And more importantly, who controls the gun inside Beijing itself? So on February the 10th, people noticed something on CCTV's news program. There's a footage that became very interesting. Sitting near Xi Jinping was a mysterious man who could potentially shift the entire security balance in Beijing. That day, Xi Jinping was listening to briefings from Beijing's municipal party and government leadership. In the room, the only person in uniform was the political commissar of the Beijing garrison. His name is Zhu Jun. Now, this matters because the fallout from Zhang Youxia hasn't fully settled yet. At such a sensitive moment, the man who controls what people call the Imperial Guard is either Xi Jinping's shield or the knife hanging behind his neck. The Beijing garrison normally protects Zhongnanhai and other core political sites. In wartime, it's responsible for covering the top leadership's evacuation. In practical terms, whoever controls the Beijing garrison controls half the capital's security. So what's strange is this guy, Zhu Jun. He is almost a political ghost. Oh, actually, I have a picture of him. There's a bigger picture of him. This man is mysterious. His background is basically a blank slate. Official disclosures only say he's from Hunan, Xiangtan, Hunan. He was born in the 1970s. Before he showed up in 2019 as political commissar of an Air Force unit in Yunnan, there's virtually no public record of him at all. In December 2019, he was promoted to Major General. 1 month later, he was transferred to Xinjiang as political commissar of the Urumqi Air Base. Then he disappeared from public view for more than 4 years, and he suddenly reappeared June 2024 and was parachuted straight into Beijing as political commissar of the Beijing garrison. That timing matters. Xi Jinping's grip on the PLA began to weaken in the spring of 2024, April 2024, when he clashed with Zhang Youxia over the role of Xi Jinping's wife, Peng Liyuan, played in military affairs. Because there was a picture circulating on social media showing that Xi Jinping's wife was wearing uniform and inspecting military academies, and the title for her was he was a member of a CMC committee that oversees personnel promotions, personnel vetting. It was an office that vetted PLA promotions. And it's known that Zhang Youxia clashed with Xi Jinping over that. Zhang Youxia felt that it was an insult to military officers that a singer, a performer, an entertainer is deciding their promotion. So that's when it started. And so by July 2024, Xi reportedly fell seriously ill and his power slipped even further. And Zhu Jun entered Beijing right in the middle of that turbulence. So Now, he isn't just the political commissar of the Beijing garrison. He also sits on the Beijing Party Committee as a uniformed standing member, which gives him enormous political weight. But here's what people are saying about his political affiliation. His factional alignment remains the subject of discussion among China watchers. Some people point out that Zhu Jun spent many years in Yunnan and Sichuan, which are regions long associated with Zhang Youxia and Hu Jintao's military networks. Zhang Youxia rose from Yunnan, and then remember Hu Jintao when he faced assassination attempt when he was inspecting the PLA Navy years ago. He escaped to Yunnan and stayed there for a week before returning to Beijing. So that's why his Zhu Jun's his political affiliation are believed to be aligned with Hu Jintao and Zhang Youxia because he spent so many years in Yunnan and Sichuan. So far, we've been looking at the hard power side of the story. Xi Jinping doesn't fully trust the army. He may not fully control the guns guarding Beijing. And even his personal security now depends on people whose political loyalty is unclear. But in the CCP system, power isn't only enforced with guns. It's also enforced with who gets to appear, who gets erased, and who gets put back on stage. So if you want to know whether Xi Jinping really has the situation under control, don't just look at troop movements or bodyguards. Look at who's being allowed back into the spotlight and who that person used to be connected to. And that brings us to something that on the surface looks like an entertainment news, but it's not. In reality, it's a very loud political signal. And the person they choose to bring back is someone who was once politically dangerous. And now we enter the part about a seductress. Her name is Tang Can. Do I have a picture of her? Oh, there she is. All right. So Miss Tang was once dubbed China's most famous, or the one and only military seductress. She was said to have taken down more generals in bedrooms than many did on the battlefield. And now she's back. In recent days, news went viral that Miss Tang Can, who is a folk singer, who was tied to Xi Jinping's biggest political enemy during his early years as the CCP leader, aka the Bo Xilai Zhou Yongkang coup circle. Oh yeah, this is the Bo Xilai guy. This guy, and together with Zhou Yongkang, planned a coup to bring Xi Jinping down. And this guy was actually, Xi Jinping's biggest political enemy at the time, because he is also a princeling and was chosen by Jiang Zemin to succeed Hu Jintao. But anyways, so the very woman who's tied to Xi Jinping's biggest political enemy, who were plotting a coup against him, has made a high-profile comeback on the CCTV New Year Gala. Even though it's not a CCTV's main New Year Gala, the story still spread and kept getting louder and louder. Multiple Chinese state media outlets have now confirmed it. So let me go back to the woman. So according to official reports, when the performer list was released, Miss Tang Can's name was placed first. That alone is unusual. Other state media reports say she didn't just appear, she sang 3 songs by herself, essentially getting headliner treatment. Her picture appears on the poster of the event. Where is it? Here it is. That's Miss Tang Can on the poster of that event. So no matter how you look at it, this is strange. Why? Well, she was intimately involved with several of Xi Jinping's political enemies in the military and in politics. And back then, the saying was that there was a whole row of generals involved with her. Beyond the sex scandals, there were also reports linking her to, like I said, the political coup against Xi Jinping. And she was said to have close personal ties with the individuals in the coup. And some people even said that she might have acted as a go-between person in that coup plan. So she was the messenger. That was never just her case was never just about money for sex or power for sex. It was political. Later, Ms. Tang Can was secretly sentenced to 7 years in prison and sent to a women's prison in Hubei. Sources close to the prison told mainland Chinese media that she was held under an alias. The name she used was Zhou Yan. And it was the public information was that Zhou Yan was serving a prison term on economic crime charges. Those sources also said that she behaved very well in prison, so received a sentence reduction, and she was released in 2016. Where she went after that is unclear. All of this matters for one simple reason. Now, her case was never just an economic crime case. Otherwise, you wouldn't see this level of secrecy, right? Sealed indictments, sealed trials, and even serving time under a fake name. When she was taken down, there were whispers inside CCP's political circles that Xi Jinping's wife had a hand in it. Where's that woman? Oh, I don't have a picture. What happened? Oh, anyway, I had a picture of Madame Xi. Anyway, so Madame Xi and Miss Tang Can came from the same folk singing lineage, and they were longtime rivals competing for the top folk singer title. On top of that, Miss Tang's ties to the political faction meant to bring down Madame Xi's husband. So the street rumor was simple. Madame Xi saw this woman not only as a personal rival, but also as a public enemy. And so Madame Xi was involved in bringing down this singer. Now, these rumors cannot be proved, but one thing is widely accepted. This woman is politically radioactive when it comes to Xi Jinping and his wife. So people say there's a seesaw dynamic between Madame Xi and this woman. When Xi Jinping's wife rises, Miss Tang Can falls. When Madame Xi loses ground, Miss Tang Can reappears. That is why this comeback is so revealing. This doesn't look like a fallen star finds redemption story. It looks arranged. And of course, the gala she appeared on, or she will appear in, because I mean, the news report was about the filming. The filming is done. They haven't aired it because the New Year is in a week. So the gala she appeared on is not the top-tier CCTV New Year's Eve show, but it's still produced with the CCTV network and broadcast on official platforms. with real reach and strict political vetting. And that's the key point. Someone like her, linked to a coup once, with a criminal record and with a toxic reputation, should not, under normal CCP rules, be allowed on a core party media platform. Yet not only did she appear, she was pushed as the headliner. The official poster, the one you're looking at, used her image. And in the stage photos that got leaked, she stood dead center in the lineup. And even her dress was different from everyone else. And that's not accidental. So put this in context. Right after Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhengli were taken down, Ms. Tang has long been labeled as part of the anti-Xi camp, right? Even though she's just a singer, she's tied to major political cases. And her sudden high-profile return to CCTV platforms does not look like a director getting creative on a whim. If she didn't have serious backing and political reason behind this comeback, no producer would take this kind of risk, especially in today's political climate. So let's be real. She is over 50 and has been off the mainstream stage for more than a decade. And there are plenty of young singers, probably better than her. So if a director just needed singers, they had endless choices. This wasn't about talent. This was about politics. What does that tell us? It's very simple. Xi Jinping does not have the game fully locked down. By pushing this singer back onto official platforms, people inside the system are basically sending a strong message. We can still embarrass you in public. You don't control everything. So now, recently, Xi Jinping has been making frequent public appearances. If you follow China news, he's been visiting tech hubs, checking out New Year markets, smiling for cameras. And this is classic visibility politics around the holidays. And in CCP politics, who gets to show their face and who disappears tells you who's up and who's down. So Ms. Tang Can's sudden reappearance is part of that same visibility political game. So when you put all of this together, the picture is pretty clear. Xi Jinping is being squeezed from both sides. On the inside, the military no longer feels safe. Trust has been replaced by purges. Loyalty has been replaced by fear. Even culture has turned into a battlefield in which Xi Jinping and his wife are not winning. On the outside, foreign intelligence agencies are openly fishing for insiders, not quietly, not discreetly, but in Chinese, in public, in front of tens of millions of Chinese. That combination is lethal to any authoritarian system. Because when your house is cracking and the outside world starts pulling at the cracks at the same time, that's when pressure turns into structural failure. And judging by what we've seen right now, Xi Jinping isn't in a position to absorb both forces at once, not for long. Now, everything I've laid out so far is analysis based on real events from the past few days. They're all real events. Now let's talk about the rumors. Have you heard the latest one? You know what is it about? Well, it's about this guy. Oh, not this guy. Where did he go? There he is. According to sources, the man who played a key role in the arrest of Zhang Youxia, Xi Jinping's Minister of Public Security, Wang Xiaohong, is rumored to be stepping down or being forced into retirement. The official excuse floating around? Health reasons. The rumor says he has cancer. either throat cancer or bladder cancer. I mean, rumor about him having cancer has been spreading since last year, so this is not new. The cancer rumor isn't new. It's been going on for a while. But the retirement or stepping down rumor is new. But it says that he will use health as the reason to leave his post. What makes this rumor worth paying attention to is the source. It comes from the same person who first broke the news about Zhang Youxia's arrest. Yes, the same source. Now, Wang Xiaohong is widely seen as Xi Jinping's security chief and one of his two most loyal enforcers, and the other one is Cai Qi. So if Wang Xiaohong really steps down, Xi Jinping will lose control of the public security system because he's not going to be able to find another loyalist to fill that role. He won't. That means the police, domestic security, internal surveillance, other CCP leaders, that would all fall into the hands of someone who may not be loyal to him. That would leave Xi Jinping effectively blind and disarmed on the internal security front. So for Xi Jinping, this would be catastrophic. All right. I was corrected on how to pronounce the word aristocrat. Yeah, I knew I said it wrong. Two people wrote to me to correct me. I thank them, seriously. I do. Please continue to correct me on my pronunciation. Yeah, I don't know why when I'm doing live stream, like I can't even say words that I normally can. I think it has to do with your mind is going so fast. Sometimes for some people there, when your mind moves faster than your mouth, especially when you're speaking a foreign language, like you get stuck. Anyways, that's no excuse for me. All right, so let's say because I mean if Wang Xiaohong seriously steps down, Xi Jinping is in big trouble because without control of public security, he doesn't just lose power lose power. He loses protection, right? He loses power and protection. But this just came out, and the minister himself, immediately after this rumor came out, CCTV or Xinhua had a news piece showing the minister hosting a meeting within the ministry. So is that enough to dispel the rumor? I don't know. Let's give this rumor a few days to settle to see if it's real. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I'll give you an update. All right, that's all I have for you tonight. Let me mention my new video for the week for the Looking Glass channel. It's about a very interesting man who is, people say, a psychic, a feng shui master, a fortune teller, and a great Chinese medicine expert or Chinese doctor. I've always wanted to make a video about traditional Chinese medicine, and I haven't really found enough interesting content, but his story is fascinating. So please check it out. Chris, if you could copy the link here for people to see that would be great. All right. Lei hasn't figured out why her continuity cameras don't work. So I'm using my webcam to do this. It doesn't have very high resolution, but it works. Anyways, let's see what people have for me. Comments, questions? All right. Clip Pie, your chat is awesome. This is great This is a great community. Yeah. Someone said, 我们坐在高高的电脑旁边听妈妈讲那过去的事情。It's so thank you. Well, you must be a Chinese. You calling me a mom? All right. Well, thank you. I took that as a compliment. It's very sweet. It's hilarious. Okay. All right. Comments. I'm just quickly going back to see if there are any super sticker questions that I should address. Comments. Oh, here's one from anti S25. Lei, do you find it weird how China was the third world country even after the communist revolution, but it wasn't until they started sprinkling in capitalism when they started earning the big bucks? Yeah, but China never actually imported capitalism. What they had is a fake capitalism. The best analogy that I heard is some people describe China as a huge Hollywood set. It looks like capitalism, but it's not. It's just a set. Everything is for show. Everything is staged for show. Deep down, it's not. Um, China is still a third world. China is still a third world country, I believe, if judged by people's living standard. But the country has the regime has enormous wealth because it has embezzled the wealth that should belong to the people in its own pocket. Clip pie. What is the CCP's new tactic? Rare minerals aren't rare anymore. Japan found a major deposit in their waters. Game changer on that. Yeah. What's CCP's new tactic? Well, calling Trump and Vladimir Putin on the same day is one reactive move, making sure that the two world leaders visit China in the first half of this year. That's one tactic. All right. Okay, let me see. Let me go back. All right. Clip pie. Okay. Let's see. Questions, comments? Someone say, I'm CIA? Oh. No one can influence me. No one can influence Lei. Enjoy the chat. Poo stinks from Give Up Now 000. All right. Well, thank you. Capitalist 88. I just found you tonight. Wow, impressive, up-to-date detail. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Here's a question from Iha. Like, those blue circle guys look like killers. Yeah, they are. They are bodyguards. If you watch the video carefully, the room, a third of the room is filled with those individuals. If you rewatch that video, it's full of those young people. All right. These young soldiers. Someone asked me, like, Daniel Nordin, like, who actually still supports Xi? His long-term loyalists, like He Lifeng. I mean, there's, a handful of them in the Politburo. And also up to people who want to gamble, people who want to gamble. I don't think there are that many. Most people are staying neutral. So he doesn't, I think in terms of pure human resources, he doesn't outweigh his opponents. But because he is still the party leader, the chairman of the CMC, he could force the propaganda machine to to repeat after him. So, yeah. Someone says, who funds Lei? You guys do. By your watching me, by you, supporting me, giving me super stickers and watching my programs, subscribing to me, you're supporting me. So I don't even have sponsors. I rarely do sponsor announcements because I don't have time to review them and try their products. Although I do have some gift guides that I did during the holidays, and the link is still in the description. And those are products that I found interesting and good. So please check them out. I also have products of my own, my t-shirts and mugs, my branded products. You can check them out. Other than that, that's the essence of social media. You have to be authentic and real and genuine for people to watch you, right? So, all right. Purple facts. Someone said, thank you for, I got a Kevin HT. If Taiwan isn't at risk of being invaded because she is losing power, what does that mean for Eastern Russia? Eastern Russia? What does that mean for Eastern? Is China going to invade Eastern Russia and take it back? Take the old territories from Northeast China, take that back? I don't think so. I don't think the PLA, although that will garner more support, I think the PLA and the Chinese people will be more inclined to take that territory back from Russia than the Taiwan island. But I don't think the PLA is in, because that would involve the army, right? Any war in Eastern Russia or against Russia in that territory would be, the army will play a major role. And the guy who has the most influence in the army is Zhang Youxia, or was Zhang Youxia. With him gone, I don't know how the army will perform. So I think, no, I don't think so. Steve Vaughn, Lei, I really wish you would do a show on how you believe a new Chinese government should work. Certainly, you don't want China to turn like American. I'm not sure what I would like. I haven't done it because I haven't really formed, I don't have a good opinion. And I don't want to be saying that a democratic system like the one that we have in Taiwan and the United States will work for China. I think let's not assume that. So it's premature, but I also don't want to say, prematurely to exclude that. So it's very difficult for me to say anything responsibly at this point. I do not believe a democratic system, the one that Taiwan has, will work for China in the immediate future after CCP collapses, because that could be weaponized or controlled by a few individuals with ulterior motives and will implement a fake democracy and then make China even more dangerous than the CCP. So, I shouldn't say make it will, because I don't think China right now, any elections that's put out right now could be easily manipulated. And then that just defeats the whole purpose of having democracy. So, but I don't have an opinion of what will work in China in the immediately after the CCP becomes history. I don't have a good opinion. That's why I'm trying not to say anything prematurely. Someone say, Lei, are you a CIA agent? Do I look like one? Oh. All right. Anyways, you can believe whatever you believe. All right, here's one. Aim for a goal Lei, love your channel. Was never interested in China politics, but found your channel and your presentation makes it interesting. Okay, well, welcome. I'm glad. I'm glad that I could help. Okay, this question forwarded by Chris. Is your real-time estimate of China's population as of today, if you had to say, what is your real-time estimate of China's population as of today, if you had to say? I would say I'm going to give you a huge range. It's between 5 million and 1 billion. If I really want to be super careful. But I think realistically, it's probably in the middle. Yeah, it's probably in the middle of that. But I think I feel 100% safe to say it's between 500 million and 1 billion. So you take the midpoint of that. That would be my best guesstimate. Someone said, I found Gordon Chan, a superficial analyst. Your opinion? I haven't followed him. I have not followed him. I don't have anything to say. I don't like to call people superficial. I think everyone is trying their best to do a good job analyzing the CCP. Yeah, I think everyone is trying, but I don't know enough to say anything about others. Someone said, Lei, because you don't look like CIA, that makes you a perfect candidate for CIA. Okay, so I'm doomed. Okay, if I don't look like a CIA, then I'm CIA. And if I do look like a CIA, I'm definitely CIA. So you're saying no matter what, I am CIA. All right, that logic is something. I guess, this proves how powerful people's thoughts can be, right? When people believe in something, and no matter what you do, what you say, they will just believe it. Right? So there's no point of proving anything to people. People could say whatever they want and believe whatever they want, because you can't change their mind. You lose anyway. Okay. All right. All right. CIA. Lei is with Costco. Interesting. All right. Someone say, I'm CIA. We don't fund Lei. All right. Okay. WP. I'm just reading some comments. Lei, thank you for a realistic explanation of Chinese and how Western interprets Xi Jinping and the CCP. From where? I lost that note. All right. I think it's good to have different opinions. I do believe that having different perspectives on the same subject is a healthy landscape. If we all hold the same view, that worries me. So I think the fact that many of the Western analysts and experts hold different views than people like myself, I think it's very good. I think it's a very healthy, we will have a healthy dialogue. And I think the truth will come out more accurately amid the debates and dialogues. I think it's a healthy phenomenon. All right, that should be all for tonight. And we shall continue the discussion about whether Lei is a CIA asset or not next time. All right, how's that? Where are the elders? Okay, we'll answer what's going on with the party elders next time. Okay, till next time. See you. Bye.